Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. This is segment 8 of my Blood Rage painted miniatures look, all professionally painted by Tot Miniatures from Romania. So I've gone through a lot of different minis. We're moving right along. We've done all the 6 clans, we've done the Gods of Asgard, and so now it's time to move on to the monsters. And by monsters, I don't mean that they're all monsters. This is sort of the term. I mean, some of them are, like the werewolf, obviously, and the soldier from hell, for instance. But in the context of the game, monster simply means that these are special pieces that don't belong to any specific clan. And so what that means is that these, in the context of the game, depending on the card that is played and drawn, these particular pieces can shift allegiance, and they can, in one game, be a Raven clan, and the other, for instance, a Serpent clan. So there are 2 subclasses of so-called monsters, and now in that respect, monsters means that these are pieces not specific to a particular clan. They can change. There's the large monsters, which we're gonna get into for the next segment of the review. And then there's the so-called regular monsters, of which I'm gonna talk about today. And the only difference, of course, is just the size. The regular so-called monster pieces are the same size as the clan miniatures. And they come in a lot of different types and with different powers. And they're all rather interesting in themselves. And again, I think that Cool Mini or not really outdid themselves in creating a wonderful scopes with a lot of great detail. And then of course, Tot Miniatures, I mean, I bring all of that to life. So I'd like to start by just kind of showcasing the miniatures that don't have a unpainted version. This here is a alternative dark elf. So we have a dark elf, a dwarf chieftain, and a soldier of hell in the original core Blood Rage game. Now, if you want to play with a 5th player, normally Blood Rage can only be played with 4 players. But if you want to play with a 5th player, that does change the rules somewhat, because with 5 players, you need more cards, you need a bit more of everything in order to accommodate that 5th player. And so one of the 5th player expansion rules gives you a little bit more monster to play with. And so instead of just having 1 dark elf, you have 2. And likewise, you have 2 dwarf chieftains and 2 soldiers of hell. So this is the alternative miniature for another dark elf. She's obviously female. Let's try to get a little bit closer. Beautifully painted face. You can actually see the eyes, the eyebrows, the little earrings. She has a little, piece of jewelry on her forehead. She's cloaked, and you can see her very, very nicely detailed knife in one hand. Beautiful sculpture. She's like, dancing. It seems like on one foot, or in mid strike. Very graceful. I like the gray of the cloak. You can see Mina did some very nice shading again of the back of it to give you some texture work. She has the red contrasts nicely again with the gray, very nicely tanned and muscled. You have the short dagger. Again, beautifully detailed with the jewelry. Take a look at her gauntlet, the little tiny metallic sheen on that, and then her knee guards. So yeah, heavily muscled, maybe a little bit suggestive. You can definitely see that she's essentially nude, unless I miss my guess, but she has the appropriate cover where it needs to be. So this is the 5th player expansion exclusive alternative dark elf. One of my favorites. I'm gonna put that aside. Here is the fifth player expansion, Alternative Soldier of Hell. So the Soldier of Hell are basically like zombies. So this one is holding an axe. The other one is holding, I believe, another sword, I think. So we'll see that shortly. You can see sort of the rust on the axe there. Here's a nice little zombie. The eyes are glowing blue. One of the living dead. So an appropriate name for Soldier of Hell. He's more brown and gray. Back. And hopefully you can appreciate some of the nice colors. All right, let's take a look at the Dwarf Chieftain. This is one of my favorites here. Nice big head, a lot of nice detailing of the face. Like the armor as well. A super long shield. This little guy is really challenging to properly protect and to put in inserts for the box. It has like a nice big sword on the back, a long spear, a shield, great armor, a top knot for the hair. So this little guy has it all. But because of the length of the spear, he's basically almost like a clan leader. Almost takes up as much room vertically as a big monster. And so he's definitely a bit of a challenge to protect. He doesn't really fit in any of the normal wooden inserts. So you have to be a little bit creative to figure out where to put him to protect him. But this is the alternative Dwarf Chieftain from the 5th player expansion. Okay, we're gonna put that aside for now. And then let's take a look at their core rules counterpart. So since we're on the Dwarf Chieftain, let's take a look at the core one. So I kind of like the fact that, they are very distinct. Mina did a nice job making them distinct. He's nice and has red colors, the red cloak. He has a war axe. And his shield nicely emblazoned with gold detailing on the back. Very, very nice. So let's take this Dwarf Chieftain and compare it to the unpainted version right here. Kind of see again the striking difference, painted versus unpainted. There you have it. And then I'm going to put our two Dwarf Chieftains next to each other, side by side. So again, you can kind of appreciate how different they are, but they clearly are both dwarves. So very neat. Look at how tall the spear is on our alternative Dwarf Chieftain. So there you go. And then let's take a look at our Soldier of Hell. This is the core version. I actually like the core version a little bit better than the alternative version. I think I like the armor right here better. I like the face for sure a lot better. You can see where he had his head split open. He's still alive. He's got his scraggly beard. This one just seems to me to have a lot more character. Look at that. So here's the back of it. Look at the shield hacked apart. And again, Minas is so good at, you know, bringing texture to the wood. You almost like look at this, you almost feel like it's a wooden shield. You can see that it's kind of beaten up. He's got a big, long, rusty sword. Kind of sort of the detailing of the belt armors, the rings encircling each other. Again, the boots with the shins. Here's the bare feet. So I definitely like this zombie, this soldier of hell, so to speak, quite a bit more than the other one. Let's take a look at the unpainted version next to the painted version. Again, it's a striking difference. This again just there to sort of showcase how much work goes into the paint of both of these guys. And one more time. And then finally, putting our two soldiers of hell together. We have the alternative 5th player expansion version and the original, side by side. Again, they're not completely touching because the magnets are repelling a little bit, but hopefully you can get a good idea of how the two are. All right, good. Finally, the original core Dark Elf. This is almost as good in terms of detailing as the gods of Asgard. He could almost pass for a god. A magnificent paint job by Mina. So this is a male Dark Elf to be contrasted with a female, and the two Dark Elves are actually amazing. So you got 2 zombies, 2 elves, and 2 dwarves actually. If you want to go full 5th player expansion. I love the shield, the detailing of the chainmail, and of course he's decked out in green cloak. You have his bow and arrow on the back. Just a wonderful armor. Just a little bit of, you can see the little red brooch or brooch that he has to clip his cloak. Very regal. This is a great paint up of the Dark Elf. And then, to showcase that, you can see the unpainted version right next to it. Let's turn them around. There you have it. Let's take them aside, and let's take the 2 Dark Elves together. So I think they form quite a striking pair. Cool Menu and I gave us a male Dark Elf and then a female Dark Elf, and they're so different to each other. Very nice, different pose. I just think they did a really good job, giving us like a truly different miniature for the second version of the Dark Elf, the Dwarf chieftain, and the Soldier of Hell. But I do definitely have to give the Dark Elf, I think, the win when it comes to my favorite pair. Okay. So hopefully you understand what they did there. So let's move on to the monsters without any alternate 5th player expansions. I kind of wish that they had done an extra one for all of them. So this is one of the standalone ones. This is the Völva Witch. pretty unbelievable. Look at the gold knife hilt, the blood on the knife. She's got a skull in the other hand. Does look very witch-like. Beautiful detailing here of the face. Little horns on top. Her little fur loincloth. Again, you can see the detailing of her body and her anatomy, which at the miniature level is just amazing, actually. So, kind of showing you there. And she's kind of pale gray, like she's almost dead. And then again, the nice gold scabbard to match the gold handle of the knife. A little bit of the ankle ring, the one around the knee. These are all little details that you have to be very sharp-eyed to pick up and understand like what they are, you know? And to catch that and to paint it, and also to paint the texture on the flesh. So the Volar Witch has a lot of skin showing, so to speak. And so you have to be able to deal with that as well, and paint it with an appropriate color. And again, a lot of this is from the Art of Blood Rage book that she took, inspiration from. And I sent her pictures of the book so she can take a look at those. And of course, some of the earrings, the gold. So this is an amazing paint job, actually, for the Volar Witch. Let's bring her down and let's show her off next to the unpainted version. And of course, she's leaning a little bit. But like I said, you look at the plastic, it's just like a blob. A blob of gray, a blob of white plastic. And then, basically Top Miniatures takes that, and then Mina is able to turn the right to the left, which is just, beautiful work. And of course, the plastic has this sort of leaning way over, and so they're able to correct that, which is nice. It definitely makes you want to play the monsters during the game a lot more when we have these beautiful paint-ups. It'd be interesting when we play it to see how it kind of affects strategy and gameplay, Okay, that's the Volar Witch. And then finally, last but not least, the amazing Valkyrie. So here she is in all her glory. She takes up a lot of space too. So here you have it. Nice long spear, dynamic pose, the cape is flowing. Her cloth is flowing, nicely detailed armor, beautiful skin work. Look at the details of the shin guards again and the boots. I just noticed, man, these miniatures do have a lot of like under boob and bare breasts covered by armor and stuff. I guess that's one of the criticisms leveled against maybe the design, might be a little bit overtly erotic. But again, these are little miniatures, barely the size of my thumb. So I think it's in keeping, I think, with the mythology, with the background. I don't think they were aiming to be overtly sexual or anything like that. And to be fair, there's not that many female miniatures in the set, which is something they actually decided to rectify for the second big expansion. They created female versions of the big monsters, which is interesting. So this is the Valkyrie. Look at the wonderful work on the shield. Then you have her blonde hair and of course her helmet with the red flowing mane. So definitely one of the most striking miniatures, kind of monsters. Kind of hard to showcase the best angle. So let's kind of put her next to the unpainted version. So again, hopefully you can appreciate the difference. The other side. So there you have that. So obviously, if you're wondering why I don't have unpainted versions of all of them, that would mean, of course, I have to buy another 5th player expansion, which I really didn't want to do. And those are actually sold out, by the way. They're Kickstarter exclusive versions. So getting another version, you would have to go on eBay. And again, for the ones that I can still buy, I just had Top Miniatures buy it directly in Europe, save me a lot of hassle and trouble from having to ship it. But for some of the ones where they couldn't get it easily, I had to, of course, procure myself and then send it to them. All right, love that. And we got one more. So this is the very rare werewolf monster. He is a Kickstarter exclusive, one of 4 Kickstarter exclusive monsters, and the only one that's regular miniature size. The other one's the Mystic Troll, and the Mountain Giant, and the and Fenrir. Those are larger sizes. So the werewolf is sort of the one that's not as large. But he is no less impressive. You can definitely see this is a amazing paint job. I think this is a level 4 paint job. I think even though I paid for level 3, Mina just went all out. So you can take a look. You can see the beautiful contrast of the fur versus the naked body. Look at the muscle. Not the most anatomically correct, I will grant you, but still, beautiful muscular work. A little bit of fur to hide the sensitive parts. You can see the veining all along the arms and the legs, the sheer power, and then wonderful work on the face. Take a look at the face here with the detailing of the fans. It really brings this thing to life. I wish I did have a unpainted version to show the striking difference between the two. And again, these guys are expensive. They were sold out a long time ago, so he comes in his own box. And so, unpainted versions are pretty pricey, and you don't see painted versions very often, just again because the unpainted sealed in box version costs so much money. So that's part of the reason, if you're wondering why I spend so much time reviewing it and just kind of taking a look at it, is because I don't think there are many completely painted Blood Rage sets out there, including every single Kickstarter exclusive. It is a rarity because it costs so much money to get all those, and then of course to professionally do it right is difficult. I think there's only maybe, I have to guess, only a handful, maybe 2 or 3, maybe one more than that is painted to this level of quality, professionally speaking. So again, great miniature, one of my favorites when you again look at everything that was done for him. So how does it work? In other words, if you have these so-called monster pieces and now you're playing with them, we did have to make a couple of modifications. Normally what you do is you take this unpainted piece and you snap it into whatever color disc is appropriate, depending on what player claims that particular monster piece. But because we didn't want to excessively damage the beautiful paint, for instance, we didn't want to snap. And so what we did was we made some modifications. We put magnets on the bottom. That's to help them stay in their inserts, of course. But it also helps to change it and have them, for instance, clip onto the base. So let's just say the Serpent Clan takes ownership of the Völva Witch. So normally you would actually shove it in and you would clip it in place. And if you look at the little tiny discs, there'll be little tiny plastic indentations and protuberances that allow you to snap the miniature in place. But of course, if you do that and you paint the base, you'll scratch up the sides horribly. And so you don't really want to do that. So what we did was we decided we would instead put magnets to the bottom, and then we would smooth out the inside of the circle, kind of, sand it away, and then put magnets on the bottom there. And therefore, if, for instance, the Serpent Clan lays claim to the werewolf and plays that card, all you have to do is essentially hover over it, and you can see that it just basically magnetizes right to the appropriate color disc. And now the werewolf is a member of the Serpent Clan. If during another game, for instance, you were to have the Wolf Clan draw the werewolf miniature, you just simply hover over the red Wolf Clan, and you can see now it magnetizes. So I think this is a beautiful and elegant solution to the dilemma of how to having the ability to interchange monsters from clan to clan without damaging the sides, is that you just simply smooth all that out, and you magnetize, and you just snap from one to the other. This is the same solution we used for the bigger monsters. It just has more magnets and the larger disc. And we have these for every single empty disc. There's 2 small and 2 large of each color, and we have it for all of them, for all 6 primary colors. You just simply use a drill to drill through, and you just basically glue a specific magnet size. Pretty easy to do, as you can see, and it works very, very well. So there you have it. Let's have all of our regular monster pieces lined up in a row so we can admire them one last time before ending the video. There's quite a lot of them, as you can see. So here we go. Starting with the werewolf, Völva witch, dark elf, dwarf chieftain, soldier of hell, the Valkyrie, soldier of hell, 5th player expansion exclusive, dark elf 5th player expansion exclusive, and dwarf chieftain 5th player expansion exclusive. Total 9 regular sized monster miniatures. Okay, so the next segment, we're going to be finally looking at the big hitters, the big monsters, and I think I'll probably split those up into individual videos of each, because those are the ones where I think Mina really outdid herself, doing paint jobs and special paint ups that are worthy of shows, actually. And so I'll devote a separate video for each one of those big monsters. And so I don't know if I'll continue the segment, the segment designation, since it'll be a little bit laborious to denote a separate segment for each big monster review. So we'll see how I decide to do that once I put up some of those. So, hopefully we can look forward to that. And I hope you enjoy this. So this is the Blood Rage, painted by Top Miniatures, and these are the normal monster pieces. Until next time, do take care.